Welcome back to the Competitor Talk. This is your host, Kyle Dangler. This podcast is presented by Loud Creative Works, and today we were very fortunate to be joined by NFL free agent defensive lineman Ryan Delaire. And, let's get going.
Hello?
Hey, Ryan, it's Kyle. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah. So we'll just get right away started. I just wanted to start off, just looking at your background, growing up. You were standout in several sports in high school. You lettered in basketball, football. What kind of led you on the path of football? Did you love it more? Did you have any other family friends doing it? What led you towards football, you think?
Honestly, for me, it was just all about trying to get a scholarship. And I was playing basketball, all my life. And, I was doing AAU tournaments, everything like that. And then I had a coach that suggested it to me while I was in high school. He was like, you should try to play football. It'll be easy for you to get a scholarship. You got the size, the height, everything. And then I just tried it out my senior year. And I ended up getting a scholarship for it. And then, the rest is history.
Yeah, so you only played 1 year in high school? You kind of just picked it up?
Yeah, I literally just tried it out. I never was a fan of it, really, obviously, because, the contact and everything.
Yeah.
But, hey, I just tried it out. I started liking it a lot. I love the fact that, it's a team sport and everybody has to work in it together to get a win.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, just speaking with the fact that, you just mentioned that you only played it 1 year, so you went to UMass. Did you want to stay local, picking out of college? I know you were from Connecticut, and Massachusetts is, relatively close. Did that have anything little sway toward your pick? How did that process go for you choosing UMass?
So the reason why I chose UMass, originally I committed to a school called Central Connecticut State University.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
And then, I didn't commit to them. Actually,
you chose to attend, yeah.
I didn't commit to them. I just had that offer on the table, but I never committed. So what ended up happening, I just randomly went on a visit to UMass. They invited me to a little tour and everything like that. They actually signed me right after that tour. And the reason why I went there is because that was literally the biggest school that, came to me.
Mm-hmm. So, just going there, as a redshirt freshman, you appear in, majority of the games, but, being a redshirt freshman, you didn't get a lot of time. And then, your sophomore year, you got a little more time. I'm assuming you weren't seeing the playing, time that you wanted to see. So you went to Townsend University. Can you just tell us a little bit about, the process of, going to have to transfer? Did you have to sit out a year? Do you think that helped your career looking back on it? How did it go for you?
Well, I actually didn't have to sit out a year because it's a small school.
Okay, so...
actually, it was... Yeah, Towson is a smaller school, and UMass went to... they went from a D1AA to a D1A school.
Yeah.
So when I transferred down, I could just play right away. So, it was kind of tough, actually, just because I switched schools, switched states. That was tough within itself. And then on top of that, my major... I had to change my major. So, when I went to Towson, I basically had to finish a whole major in a year and a half.
Wow.
From scratch.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I know. Just talking about that, transferring to a new school, getting to know new teammates, a new team system, and then also the school. Did it weigh on you heavily? Just dealing with all that pressure in a couple different areas in your life?
Yes, it was a lot of pressure, a lot of focusing. I had a lot on my hands because at the same time, I was one of the best players I was there.
Yeah. So
I had to be at my best on top of my game as far as being on the field. On top of that, the schedule was kind of strenuous because I had to bulk in a lot of classes within one semester. And I had to do that for every year. For 2013 fall and 2014 fall. So it was tough on me.
So, just speaking, going from D1A to D1AA. I mean, just looking at your stats, I mean, they kind of, pop off, the charts, with 17 and a half tackles for a loss in 2013. And then, you consistently, had 1.5 sacks against UConn in a win. I mean, just going through the process of, kind of taking a step back and going to AA. I mean, did you see yourself, kind of dominating the game and, knowing going into the game that, you could get by anyone at any time?
No, I'll be honest with you. I treated everybody the same. I try to play hard against anybody. I never took anybody for granted because on any given Sunday, anybody could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I never looked at it as I'm going against lower competition or anything like that, because at the same time, we played D1A teams every year, like the first couple games of the season. So
yeah, you were still playing talented guys.
Yeah, so like no matter what, I came into the game with the same mentality.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure you would probably say this too. I mean, if you kind of took back that mentality of taking everyone for granted, I'm sure your stats would have not have looked as good as you looking back now if you kind of took them lightly.
Definitely.
Yeah, so just going through the process. I mean, why did you pick Townsend? I mean, obviously, Townsend's known for their football in AA. They're one of the powerhouses of the AA football in the United States. I mean, but just looking back on it, I mean, was there any specific reason? Players you knew, coaching staff. You just kind of liked the school and you felt you belonged. I mean, what made Townsend feel at home for you?
Well, originally, the schools that I was looking at, I took a visit to Stony Brook University in Long Island.
Yeah.
That was a good school. They had good production as well. They had good football as well. And I also had an opportunity to go to James Madison as well. But the issue with them was they changed their whole coaching staff, and
yeah, it was going through a rough process. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Old Dominion had the same situation too. And Towson, to me, just felt like the best opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the roster spots, and also they had my major that I wanted to go into.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to ask, before we move on, to your professional career in the NFL. I mean, just starting off, I mean, you mentioned before, starting late in football in your life, starting your senior year. I mean, did you feel like you had to put in, a little extra work, in the film room and on the field to, catch up with, the mechanics of, defensive lineman, rushing the quarterback, learning handwork, hand-eye coordination to, get by people? I mean, how did that go for you?
Yeah, so for me, I've always been doing this since college. So, like, I would always stay after practice for, 30 minutes, just, doing extra drills and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like I had to do that. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't have gotten to that level,
Yeah.
And I still continued doing that while I was in the league and stuff, too.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely, you have to, put in the extra work. I mean, you're starting late. I mean, on top of, your talent, I mean, starting late, I mean, I'm sure that had to be a burden, having to put in that extra work just because the other people, had the experience.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I knew I had to do all that extra work just to stay afloat.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, so, just going away, from your high school and college days, I mean, obviously, you had to put in a ton of work in a short amount of time to, eventually make the NFL. That's one of the, definitely unique stories I've heard with, starting late. A lot of guys, you hear them starting young, just being a fan of the game. So it's interesting how, you kind of just took it up as, kind of a recommendation by one of, someone at your school. So that was interesting. So, yeah, I just wanted to, touch on your professional career because, a lot of guys going into the draft that we've talked to, it's interesting because, even though they don't know, exactly where they're going in the draft or, whether they're going to have to sign a contract after the draft, I mean, they kind of know the area in which, they'll, be drafted or undrafted. And, I mean, looking back on it, I mean, did you go to any draft combines, and then after that, I mean, did you think you were getting drafted, and it was kind of shocked you didn't, or did you know, you were gonna have to, sign an undrafted contract and work your way up?
So I thought I was gonna be a late round draft pick.
Okay.
That's what
you were projected by most scouts.
Yeah, that's what was projected. So that's what I definitely thought I was gonna be, drafted, say like fifth or sixth round and everything. So when I wasn't, it was definitely disappointing. But it was all right. It worked out pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, did you go to the combine, in Indianapolis? I mean, did you go to any other combines? I mean, did you do the workout at your school, for scouts? I mean, how did the process go for that?
Yeah, so I went to the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, and I didn't have the best experience. I ended up, I pulled my groin on my 40-yard dash.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And not only that, I was recovering from a knee scope, so
you were already kind of banged up.
Yeah, I didn't really have as much time to train.
Just talking, about being kind of a little injured. I mean, did that also put extra pressure on yourself? Just going into it, knowing you're kind of a little hurt, having to kick in an extra gear, which led to the injury, or it was just a freak accident.
I felt like I was behind on training compared to everyone else.
Okay.
So I found myself actually doing too much work while I was at the combine, as far as doing different starts and even during warm-ups, doing too many starts and everything, and not being able to just trust my instincts. Okay. That was the issue that I had.
Kind of second-guessing yourself?
Yeah, and it made me do a lot more extra than I needed to.
All right, yeah. So, just talking to other players, that's been to the combine, they say it's like you mentioned a little bit before, it's a grueling process, aside from the on-field stuff, looking back, having to meet with, scouts and, GMs of teams and coaches. I mean, just being, on the clock, 24/7, so to speak, for a few days. I mean, was that challenging off the field as well, having the pressure on yourself to, impress these different teams?
I'll be honest with you. I think the combine is so extra.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that. It's interesting.
It's ridiculous. It's just so extra. I mean, I don't understand how, they have so many scouts trying to speak to you, contacting you constantly, and on top of that, if you ever had any injury, they're having you do so many MRIs.
Wow.
Like, ridiculous. I remember when I first got there, I had to do 4 MRIs. I think like 4 or 5. And I only had like probably 3 hours of sleep, and they don't even care. That's the other thing. They don't care about how late you come in. I remember I had to do an MRI on my groin, and then, they were just like, let's check the other groin. And I had to do a whole nother MRI, and that was like a whole nother hour.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, it was too much.
Yeah, I know. Just a lot of people, that we've talked to that have been to the combine have said, just looking back, it was a fun experience, but it's kind of not something they would want to do again. I mean, looking back, just going through the combine and you mentioning, hurting your groin in the 40-yard dash, is that what you think kind of dinged your, stock and made you fall out of the draft?
Definitely. I feel like if I didn't run at the draft and I just ran at the
pro day at Townsend,
at my pro day, that would have helped me out way more. Just because they took that number that I ran in the 40, and I feel like no matter what I did, they're
gonna ridicule it.
Exactly, they're gonna base it off of my combine.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
So, was your pro day after the combine? I'm assuming.
Yeah, my pro day was probably 2 months after the combine.
Okay, so did you have to, how was your recovery process for your groin going into that?
Yeah, so I actually had to taper it down for about like a week.
Okay.
And I had
So it wasn't too major?
It wasn't too major. I think it was about 3 weeks actually, where I had to just taper it down. I had to just do, small bursts. I couldn't do anything I couldn't open up as much as I was running.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So, just going into your pro day, being at a smaller school, AA school, I mean, I'm sure, you were one of the only few, that scouts were really focused on at your pro day. I mean, did that, having all eyes on you at your pro day kind of put a little extra pressure on yourself going into that pro day?
To be honest, I was a little nervous at first, but eventually I just didn't care. I just took it as another workout. It's me just working out, and I took it as me actually just working out and getting in shape. Because I feel like if you think about it as something like that, then you may lose focus or you may be too nervous, etc.
Yeah. So, just, wrapping up, before we talk about, your time in the NFL with different couple of teams, I just wanted to ask you, going through the process, off the field of, having to, try to impress these different teams and scouts. I mean, going into those meetings, I mean, was it, frustrating that, they were asking, so many questions? Were you prepared, you think, for them? I mean, did you have any preparation? How did it go for you to, go into those meetings feeling confident?
So I actually did speak with my position coaches, with Towson and everything, so I could be a little bit more prepared on different plays that I've ran in college, so I can be, just refresh my memory and everything like that. So it was now that was a little bit nervous, because you go into those rooms and it's all the coaching staff, like the whole coaching staff is in there, and it's only you, and like literally all eyes are on you.
Do they talk about a lot of schemes? I mean, do they go through, different plays that you've done in college, and, they look at, what you're doing, and they try to have you talk through what you did?
Wow, that's exactly what they do. Do you know that? You knew that already? Or?
I've seen, a couple different, films about, the draft combine, but, I haven't asked, anyone yet that question, so I was just curious how it went.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. They pull up your film, and they show you a couple plays that you've ran, and they're trying to figure out, what the defensive scheme was. Yeah. They just try to understand what exactly you're doing, that you were doing, and everything like that.
Now that they pull up, a couple different plays where, you did really well, and you speak upon, what you did well, and then a couple plays that, you kind of misread to, kind of, have you show that, you're well-rounded and you're trying to progress, or do they just, just randomly pick film?
They do both. They show the good and the bad. Okay. And they try to figure out how you can improve or how you see yourself.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's definitely, I'm sure a grueling process. I've never been through it, obviously, but, for you guys going through it. So I just wanted to, talk about getting drafted, undrafted rookie, signing with the Bucs. I'm just curious, any other teams reach out, or, was that the team you wanted to go with all along? Did they kind of, pique your interest, through the process? How did it go for you to, pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
So Tampa Bay, one thing, they offered the most money on my on the contract, the most money on a bonus. On top of that, they what else did they do? They offered the most money. On top of that, they pressured me a lot more compared to any other team. The other teams I was interested was Pittsburgh, and I want to say Miami.
Okay. What do you mean by, just curious, what do you mean by pressure? I mean, were they just kind of, on you, like, are you going to sign with us? What are you going to do? Kind of that pressure? I mean, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, they kept calling me. Like,
yeah, they wanted to know, kind of?
Yeah, they wanted to know exactly where I was going. They was like, we would really like you to come into camp. Okay. You have a great opportunity here.
So they had a great amount of interest.
A lot of interest in me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just looking back, with the Bucs, I mean, going through the process, I'm assuming you went through training camp with them, and then, you either got cut or, you just didn't want to be on their practice squad and you went to the Redskins. I mean, was that tough having to go, to a new team within a few months?
Yes, the NFL is real. They basically released me, and the sad thing about it was that, I felt like I wasn't really getting taught. I felt like I wasn't
kind of in the background.
Yeah, and I never really got that much play time. I never really got enough opportunity to mess up.
Okay.
Now it seems like they're starting to play rookies a lot more, but when I came in that class, they barely let the rookies ever get a chance. My first game, I got in probably the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that's rough.
And then the second game, it was probably like 3 minutes of the game. Then the third game, probably 2 minutes again. And then last game, I finally got a chance to really, really play.
Wow, yeah. So, just getting that experience, with the Bucs, I mean, and then going to the Redskins, and then, a couple weeks later, the Panthers signing you off the Redskins practice squad. I mean, did that give you a vote of confidence in yourself that, the Panthers signed you off the practice squad and, wanted you on their 53-man roster to, play with them?
Yeah, that made me feel very confident within myself, and, and just made me very thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah, so, just going through, 3 different organizations, I mean, was it tough learning, different schemes, learning new players, coaches, and, such a short amount of time? I mean, we've talked to other guys who have, went to different teams, but, just seeing this, I mean, it's only a few months for you, in your first year as a rookie. I mean, that's got to be tough. Hello?
Oh. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Sorry. I was right in the mix of learning, the Redskins scheme. And within 3 weeks, the Panthers called me, and I was literally gone the next day. So, and the thing that's crazy about it is that I had to learn the Panthers scheme in 3 days.
Yeah,
and then they prepared me, and I had to play in the game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just going through that, with different teams, I mean, did you find that, it was hard to gel with your teammates at first just because, you had to learn, different teammates, the schemes, and the coaches, and then on top of that, playing a game on Sunday?
Yeah, I've never been in a situation where, I had to move to a whole new location, learn the scheme, all of that. In a matter of, I want to say, how many days was it? I want to say it was probably only about 3 days, and the game was on Sunday, so it was very fast.
Yeah. So, just going through that, you were only on a practice squad and, played in preseason games before that. But, just looking at your stats, in your first game with the Panthers, I mean, it kind of, seems like you came out with, a fire, under you, recording 5 tackles and 2 sacks, against your former team, Jameis Winston. I mean, did you have that extra, kind of, pressure on yourself to, perform just because it was your old team, first game? Or did you feel that, just going through the process, you felt confident and, prepared to go in?
I felt prepared mainly, and I felt prepared mainly because of the fact that the coaching staff that I was under, they had me practice everything that was going to happen in the game, like everything.
Okay.
And, the drill work, I mean, the one-on-one coaching that I had, the extra meetings, that's what helped me.
Mm-hmm.
And the extra studying I did on my own.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, I mean, did you put in a lot of time on film, just, watching, the different linemen, seeing, what their tendencies are with, their hands and their feet placement?
To be honest with you, I didn't even watch any film.
Wow.
That's crazy because you're on the podcast, and I'm just answering that. But I'm being honest with you, I didn't watch any film really because that was during the younger time of my career when I just didn't know how valuable that was. So I kind of just went in there and I just did what I could do during that time span.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, you're still productive, with, just playing with the Panthers. But, getting the team, the 10-0, with the Panthers in 2015. I mean, just being in that locker room, it's got to be interesting, being such a well-rounded team and, one of the great teams, that season. I mean, just in the locker room, did you feel a sense of, a championship mindset was here that you might have not seen in the Redskins or the Buccaneers, not to, knock on them?
Well, with the Panthers, I felt like everybody holds each other accountable. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. Everybody's held to a certain standard. And I didn't feel that. I just didn't feel that everywhere I was at.
Yeah.
Felt like a lot of people don't take some teams that I've been on, and a lot of teams didn't take everything serious.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, just being there, was the coaching staff, hard on you guys, not only, to better yourself, but, for the team? Did they kind of put in the extra work with you one-on-one to help you guys?
Yes. What I liked about the coaching staff is it didn't matter like, where you were on the depth chart, you were getting coached the same way. Okay. That's what separates them from a lot of different people.
Yeah, definitely. Panthers, even that year, one of the great coaching staffs and, defenses. And, just after that, losing in the Super Bowl with the Panthers, and then, after that, in September comes around the following year, you hurt your knee, and then you got put on the injured reserve, and kind of hit a rough patch, not passing the physical with the Panthers. I mean, was that a tough time to try to rebound in such a quick time to get on the field again, and it ended up kind of exploding?
Yeah, that was probably one of the toughest times in my career. I basically tore my meniscus in the beginning of the year, and I kept playing. I didn't know exactly what was wrong with my knee. It made it seem like nothing was really that serious. And then, I had a torn meniscus. So going through all of that was very tough for me.
Was the training staff, kind of, not telling you the truth, but, kind of, making it seem that it was less than it actually was, and then it ended up kind of, getting worse?
Yeah, they just made it seem like it wasn't that serious. They tried to treat it and do everything they could, but at the same time, it just wasn't enough. And,
yeah.
And, they held me out. I was on injury reserve to return. It's called PUP.
Yeah.
And
physically unable to perform.
Yeah, so I basically was on that, and then I ended up coming back. I want to say November, and I ended up doing pretty good. I got a lot of pressures on the quarterback.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a sack one game against the Chargers.
Okay.
And I was doing really good. Felt really good. Body was really good. And then I ended up hurting my knee again the following game, and I was on IR again. That was really tough for me.
Yeah. So, just going through that process, going on IR, in 2 different stints, and then, failing the physical, and then going to the Colts. I mean, when you went to the Colts, I mean, obviously, did you have a different mindset, just with your workout regime, and, going into the season, trying to, reprove yourself to a new organization for yourself?
Yeah, later that year, I had a lot to prove, and I actually performed at a high level when I got there in preseason.
Yeah, I mean, just look. There's a big article, that I, definitely, read before, talking to you. I mean, just reading it, they were very impressed, what you were doing. I mean, obviously, it shows that you did your job, but I mean, was it just they didn't go with you just because not that, they didn't have enough space, but, it's kind of, not the right fit, they thought? I mean, just, you were playing at such a high level.
Yeah, the one thing I'll let you know about the NFL, man, is a lot of it is about, there's a lot of politics that's involved.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that's out of your control that you can't really do anything about. Like, you have no idea what's going on upstairs, but, they couldn't really give me a clear-cut reason why they wanted to release me.
Okay.
I performed. Every time I got in, I got a sack. I either got a hit on the QB or I got a sack.
Yeah.
And, some of the people that was there before me, some of them I ended up beating out, which was surprising. Well, it was surprising to them. They wasn't expecting that.
Okay.
But, it was something I couldn't really control. I just, did the best that I could.
So, just going off that, I mean, just with politics, it's like a business, the NFL obviously is one of the biggest businesses. I mean, just going through that, did you kind of, realize that, you can't put, too much pressure on yourself because at the end of the day, it's not in your control. They could, based on contracts and stuff, it might not be a good fit.
Yeah, the players that are paid the highest is gonna play regardless.
Yeah, of how they're performing.
Yeah, it's a given.
Yeah.
They always make it seem like, you earn your position, you earn your play time, etc. But that's not always true.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. And, just wrapping up, with the 49ers, just playing with them on their practice squad and, getting on the active roster, kind of going back and forth and, ended up, being on the active roster until the end of the year and getting waived. I mean, just your time with the 49ers, I mean, just going through the different process, with the Bucks, Redskins, Panthers, Colts. I mean, once you got to the 49ers, did you feel that, you've been in enough locker rooms, you've seen it, enough playbooks, kind of, put not a lot of pressure on yourself, perform at a high level?
Yeah, I kind of was just looking at that like, I'm going to do as much as I just let everything else take care of itself. You know, I'm not in control of all of that.
You kind of knew at this point, you know, it's a business.
Yeah, so I'm not. It's basically what you just said. I'm not going to put as much pressure on myself. I'm just going to do whatever I can to excel, just so that, you know, I understand that I put myself in the best position possible.
Yeah. So, you know, just getting waived by them, you know, in May of, you know, this year. I mean, was that kind of tough on you again to, you know, see, you know, another team, you know, not give up on you, but, you know, kind of, you know, part ways?
Yeah, that was definitely pretty tough. But at the same time, I kind of had an idea that it was a possibility, just because the draft, and on top of that, like, you know, I was on practice squad that year.
Yeah.
And they were loaded in that locker room, especially in my position.
Yeah. I know they drafted DeForest Buckner and, you know, a couple different key guys down there with the 49ers. But, you know, just looking back, you know, I just wanted to ask you, you know, a few more questions, just two more questions. Just looking back, you know, being on the active roster in the practice squad, is there a different mentality when you're walking into the locker room, you know, that what you're going to do each day, or do you have the same mindset, you know, whether you're on the practice squad or active roster?
So I have to say, you know, when you're on practice squad, you're not expected to play. So, you know, like,
you're going through the motion.
Well, you're not going through the motions. You're actually trying to, you know, work on your game and get better.
Okay.
So, you know, you're basically just more focused on working on your game when you're on the practice squad. When you're on the active roster, you're more focused on getting the scheme of the plays, of what you're doing for that particular week, on who you're facing.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the main focus when you're active.
Yeah, so just, you know, were the Panthers, you know, keeping a close eye on you when they signed you off the Redskins practice squad?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I have no idea. I just got a random call.
Well, that's definitely, you know, interesting. You know, I just wanted to, you know, wrap up, you know, just being in a couple of different locker rooms, you know, a couple of different coaches, you know, different schemes. I mean, going through, you know, the playbooks, obviously, you know, there's a ton of plays and stuff, but are most, you know, schemes and, you know, playbooks the same, or, you know, walking into every, you know, locker room a little bit different, or, you know, do you see a big difference?
So it depends. You know, most 3-4 schemes are tough. You know, regardless of the locker room, the 3-4 is definitely pretty tough, especially if you're, you know, outside linebacker.
Okay.
But if you're in the 4-3 system, it's pretty much simple. You know, the 49ers playbook definitely was the hardest to me. Okay. It was the hardest to grasp.
Did they play a 3-4 then, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, you know, just, you know, wrapping up, you know, just talking about, you know, your professional career, college career, you know, how you got into the game. Just curious, you know, do you want to just tell everyone, you know, listening right now, you know, what you're up to now? You know, are you still, you know, trying to work out and, you know, get back into the league, or, you know, are you kind of, you know, taking a step back and, you know, weighing all your options? What are you doing?
So at the moment now, I'm obviously still training and doing what I have to do, just so that when I get a call from a team, I'm prepared and I'm ready to go. Yeah, that's mainly what I'm doing at the moment.
I mean, do you have any, you know, idea? You know, we were talking to another player that is currently a free agent. You know, his agent's been getting, you know, different calls, you know, checking in to see if he's working out. Just curious. I mean, do you have any, you know, kind of not, you know, knowing where you're going to go, but, you know, do you have any, you know, kind of instinctions? You know, do you think you're going to get signed soon? You know, just with training camp cuts coming soon? I mean, how do you think it's going to go out? Do you think it's going to be a long stretch?
Honestly, I have no idea. The last call I just got was from the Texans. They invited me to a tryout, and then they actually ended up postponing it. Okay. So that was the last thing that I had happen so far.
Yeah, so, you know, just going, you know, through that, I mean, is it kind of, you know, frustrating and, you know, kind of antsy, you know, just waiting for a call to come?
Very frustrating. But at the same time, it humbles you.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I had to go through that last year.
Are you working on any specific, you know, drills with your hands or feet, you know, just trying to get stronger faster to, you know, progress, you know, when you get back to the league, you know, kind of show them that, you know, you've progressed a lot? I mean, are you doing anything specific?
So specifically, I'm working on my strength so that I can get better on playing the run. And also, I'm working on learning how to bend the edge a lot better.
Okay.
So that when I pass rush, it's easier for me to get around the corner and get to the quarterback.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so it's great to hear that, you keep on progressing, Just wanted to, final question, it's an opinion question. Just since you've been in the league, I'm just curious, who was the toughest lineman, to prepare for and face in a game that, you knew was going to give you fits on the line?
Wow. To be honest, that's a tough question.
No, yeah, I didn't want to put you on the spot. I mean, if there's no one specific, I totally get it.
Nah, because there's a couple. One of the toughest guys I went against was, who was it? I think Trent Williams was really tough.
Okay. With the Redskins?
Yeah, with the Redskins. He was tough. On top of that, I had another player. He was with the Patriots last year. He was like 6'9". I forgot his name.
Okay, yeah.
I forgot his name, but he was with the 49ers at one point, and he was with the Patriots last year. But yeah, I think he's with the Raiders right now. He just signed a huge contract.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So, it was great talking to you, just hearing your story, how you got into the game and, your professional career so far. We hope it, definitely continues and, keep on, grinding, with the off season, training coming to an end, and hopefully, we'll watch out and see where you get signed.
All right, perfect, man. Thanks for the interview.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show, and, we look forward to, talking hopefully soon and, seeing you on the field this year.
All right, thanks, man. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, bye.
Bye. Yeah, so that was Ryan Delaire, current NFL free agent. He's, as I said before, he's working out still. He's been in the league the past couple of years with 5 different franchises, so we'll definitely be working, to see where he goes. Definitely one of the pass rushers that, should definitely be signed just because of his experience in the league, along with, some of his production, just dealing with some of the injuries that he had. Once he gets fully healthy, he could definitely be, a force to be reckoned with in the NFL. So, thanks for listening to the podcast with us. We hope that you enjoyed it, and, we'll hope to see you soon, and, thanks for watching.